Good morning, my friends. How goes it today? Well, it's pretty early here where I'm at. It's about, well, it looks like it just hit 7 o'clock a.m. I don't usually make morning videos, at least not in several years, since I used to film the sunrise when I was at my job site in Portland. Because I don't usually feel very inspired in the morning until I really get going. And that's kind of how life is, and what I wanted to talk about today. When you get going on something and you get focused and you get motivated, that's when life is at its fullest, in my experience. It doesn't mean you have to have a job or a particular project or goal in mind, but just that you're doing something, that you're entertaining yourself and others, whatever it may be, to keep life on track and moving. The way I feel about going on vacation, for example, it's a big pain in the butt sometimes. You got to get all the stuff packed up and get ready. If you're flying, you got to make sure you have all your stuff and you don't want to leave anything behind. We take our school bus out on trips, but we still always leave stuff behind, and so you're always making sure that everything's ready. But even though the stress of a trip sometimes can almost outweigh the excitement of a trip, at least in my experience, I remember the good times. I remember the fun I've had. It seems that the human mind is just built to remember the experiences we've had, however, to kind of let go of some of the negativity. Now, this is very subjective. There are some people who have trained their brain to remember all the negatives, and I'm aware of that. But what I wanted to really get down to is how when things happen to us, when life events happen, they make us feel alive. And negative things as well. Like, for example, the reason I'm up so early this morning, actually, I was going to talk about my bail last week on my skateboard, but I should start by talking about waking up this morning at 4 a.m. to this screeching, screaming sound in my backyard. This, anybody who knows, I'm sure most people have heard what an angry, upset raccoon sounds like. So this is funny. My wife gets up to go to the bathroom at like 4 a.m. I wake up. I'm a light sleeper. Within like 30 seconds, I hear this hissing in the backyard, and I had my window wide open. I knew what would happen. My dog sleeps inside. My wife woke up to go to the bathroom. The dog probably got up, went outside to see what was going on out the dog door, and confronted a raccoon in our pond. We used to have a big problem with raccoons coming around eating all our fish out of the pond. And my dog kind of caught the raccoon off guard. So I'm stumbling out of bed at 4 in the morning, trying to find my pajama bottoms, basically running out there half naked. And I see my dog, and she's like barking at this raccoon who's cornered by the bamboo. And he's just like going, trying to defend itself. My dog's like, ruff, ruff. I probably made more noise than they did. It's like, Lucy, get back. But, I'm half asleep. And what am I, I'm like, okay, I got to think clearly here. What do I do? And at that point, I go up to try to confront them, and the raccoon runs off they get in a fight, and then the raccoon runs to the corner of the fence. So I go up, the raccoon's standing there like this, going, clawing at my dog, and my dog's standing back about a foot and a half, barking at it, at the corner between all four of the neighbors' houses, right? And I'm just like ridiculously loud. Everybody's got their window open, I'm sure. I'm like, Lucy, no. And my wife's out there, doesn't know what to do. She grabs the hose, which is a good plan. We've done that for dog fights in the past, and it may have worked, but I was just too out of it. So the first thing I did was I looked down and I grabbed this pool net. Now, mind you, the net that was on, you've seen pool nets just for getting leaves out. This one was actually, sorry, a fishing net. It was an old fishing net, which ain't gonna hold a raccoon, but the net had been ripped, so I tore the net off and put my own bag on there. It's like I don't know, like a foot and a half long, and I was using it to filter out my pond. But I tied it on there with zip ties, so it was on really tight, and I knew it would work. And my first thought is I picked the thing up like a javelin, and I'm like, what am I thinking? Like, I'm not gonna throw it at the raccoon. I flip it around, and I just go whunk, right over his head. Had him instantly. It was like the perfect shot. I bagged that fucker, flipped him upside down, and I was hanging him up. But the thing is, as soon as I had him in the bag, my dog took it as a sign to just pounce on him and start attacking. And he's trying to attack back. I pick him up in the bag and I'm carrying him across the yard, trying to figure out what to do with him. My dog's jumping up, trying to bite him. I finally had, um, I, he somehow tried to get out of the bag. I had to pin him down with the thing. And then I had my wife come up and get the dog and grab the dog and pull her back and put her in the house. And then I just let the thing rest, let him get out, and he got out of that bag in a hurry. Jumped up on the composter, jumped up on the plastic thing, jumped up on the fence, kind of hesitated for a minute, and he was gone. I do not expect that raccoon to come back. So I know that was a really long story, but it was a pretty intense moment. My wife's like, I can't believe you bagged that thing. It's like, you've got to have your instinct. The same thing happens, I don't know, when your animal is fighting with another animal. That can be a very intense moment. But the point of that discussion, I guess, just to tell the story, it was kind of funny. It's not the first time we've had raccoon issues. My dog Juno used to do the same thing. And raccoons can be brutal. Sure, they can get rabies. I'm well aware of this, and it's not very common that a dog gets rabies just from a standard fight. Put it this way, if a raccoon comes up to a dog, the raccoon might have rabies. I've had a raccoon out in front that would come up to me while I was working on my car. And he was trying to come up to me. He was sick. And I was afraid to work on my car because I was underneath it. And I was afraid this raccoon was just going to run up and bite me. Anyway, I probably, I think I called animal control. I don't remember what happened. That was years ago. But when a dog confronts a raccoon, it's not likely the raccoon is rabid. It's more likely that he just got caught off guard and they got in a fight. And yeah, it's horrible. It's not a good thing. I don't like seeing raccoons get hurt, and I'm glad that he was okay and he was able to get away. Raccoons are amazing animals. They're extremely, extremely intelligent. I wouldn't be surprised if raccoons were smarter than dogs, to be honest. It's not about the brain size, really. Just it's about what nature demands of it. It's kind of like the reason why crows have a tiny peanut brain, but they're extremely intelligent. Crows are awesome. But anyhow, back to feeling alive. Once that happened, I was like, I'm up. I tried to go back to sleep. Of course that's not going to happen. And it got me thinking, I got up, got a cup of coffee, and I was thinking about people who put themselves through pain and painful processes or difficult things. I understand the desire to challenge ourselves as humans. It can make you feel good. It can make you feel alive and motivated inside. I don't understand why a person would want to go climb Everest, for example, as, talking about doing extreme things or taking big risks in life. Life is a risk, but putting yourself on a mountain where you need oxygen to breathe is just not my idea of fun. But the little smaller things that we do, like, I mentioned the skateboarding thing. I've got a huge scrape on the side of my leg, and I have 2 sprained fingers and various scrapes and scratches. My elbow's sore, my back of my leg's sore, my knee is sore. This story has a point here. I have Lucy, my dog, pull me around on my skateboard around the neighborhood. I'm sure some of you have seen those videos. And I teach her to mush, and she loves doing it. Unfortunately, if I don't have my skateboard with me and we go on a walk, she just basically just leaps on the leash. I mean, she tires herself out in like 1 mile because she's just trying to pull. So anyhow, I just give her the benefit of being able to pull something because she loves doing it, and we have a route we take. We leave home, we go down the street, we take a right. We go down the street, we take another right, then a left. Then we walk through the park, then we continue our journey. But this particular night, I decided to take a different route. It was exploratory, and it's a road I've been down many times in a car, but I had never been down on my skateboard. And mind you, I've got great balance. I'm 45 years old. I used to skate, and I haven't skated in a long time. But as you get older, you fall, and you fall hard. So we went up, let her run in the field. Then we went up to the cemetery, and then I came out, and I went back on the road. And I'm cruising down the middle of the road with her pulling me, and all of a sudden, there's one area where a street light's out. And it was just black. And so I'm hitting this zone, thinking in my head, God, I hope there's not a pothole in here. And it was like right then, boom, I hit not just a pothole, but an entire missing chunk of concrete that was probably 12 inches by 8 inches wide by about literally 2 full inches deep. Like the whole concrete was missing. It wasn't just a little divot, it was like a chunk of road was missing. My skateboard hit right into it. Click! And I actually had my GoPro going, so I have the video. I might cut it out and share that part because it's kind of funny. You see me going, all right, here we go, and go into this dark spot, and you just hear the skateboard just stop, click, a pause, and then you just see me going through the air and just boom, 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 boom. And then I stand up and I'm like holding my hand. And I was talking with my brother about that afterwards, and we were talking about taking chances or sports, and he's like, why would you skate, basically? And he says, no risk, no reward. Or I said, no risk, no reward, right? And he said, but what's the reward? And that's kind of what I was thinking about. Kind of the point, I guess, here to make is the reward is the experience itself, like with anything else. But partially, the risk also is the reward. It's the reason people go skydiving. It's the reason people do base jumping or paragliding. It's not necessarily about the adrenaline rush at the time. That's part of it, yes. But it's taking that chance. It's trying something new or challenging yourself. Like my brother's been trying to get me to play golf with him for years. And to him, that's what he, describes it at. For him, it's a challenge. He's challenging himself, which is why he loves it. Personally, I don't have any interest to play golf, but I'll play because he's my bro. And I probably would love it. It's just I don't want to get involved in a sport like that. The time and the cost and everything and the type of people involved. It's just not my thing. But maybe I'd love it. And I guess that's really the point I need to make here. We take chances, we try new things because it makes us feel alive. And life can become so boring and so repetitious that it's easy to just fall into a routine and not care anymore. What you would call a comfort zone. And it's especially difficult when you have children. I have 3 kids, one older son and 2 younger kids who are still in school. And it becomes so normal to raise kids that you're used to, for example, not having the time to just go out and do what you want. You wake up, you have the kids, you get them ready for school, or you stay with them for the day, whatever it might be. I've been a stay-at-home father for several years since I used to be a carpenter. My back gave out, and at that point I started working from home. I would love to get back out there because there's also that novelty. It's a huge part of what makes life exciting is novelty. Going out and experiencing new things. It's the reason why some people will go camping at the same spot every year, the same RV park, the same predictable spot, the same comfortable area that they like, if they go camping at all, or vacation home, whatever it might be. Other people take a risk. They say, let's try a new place today. Let's go to Florida, or let's go to California instead, or some random place, and maybe wing it. I think that one of the biggest letdowns for people is when they make too many plans and they fall through. And winging it can be one of the most rewarding ways to live, in my experience. It drives other people nuts because I don't like to make plans. You know what I mean? It's like, we'll just see what happens. But I'm learning as I get older to make plans for the sake of other people. It's like if so-and-so wants to make sure that they have this barbecue, meeting / concert, whatever planned months ahead of time, that's fine because that's how they, function. But there's a certain amount of like, what's going to happen next that makes life exciting, and I don't like predictability, I guess is the point. However, I know that routine is an extremely, extremely important part of living a happy life. So, to give you an example, when you're younger, it's easier to just go from place to place, to do these things like people join the military and they travel from place to place, or maybe they go on a road trip, or maybe they move from place to place, take 10 different jobs, whatever it might be. That's a lot easier when you're younger. As you grow older, you start to desire stability and predictability. Not in everything, but you expect to be able to wake up and have your milk for your cereal, or your beer in the evening, or you're sitting by the fire in a certain place at a certain time. Old men especially have routines, old men and women, right? You see how the older you get, the more routines you form. And that's kind of laughed at when you're young, like, oh God, waking up doing the same thing every day. You have to earn the desire to want that. In other words, we want exciting new things when we're young, and as we get older, we really start to appreciate that stability. That even waking up to the same old routine can be so rewarding because you know that it could be so much worse. You know that any time you could lose it all. My house hasn't burned down yet, right? Um, no nukes have fallen yet, right? There's no solar flares taking down the grid. There's a million things that I could think about that might happen, could happen. I don't live like that. So it's a certain amount of planning in life and a certain amount of just letting things be what they are and accepting routine as part of our experience. So, anyway, that's my ramble for the morning. And I guess I'm just trying to push myself to try new things lately. I have been stuck in too much of a routine, and it's to my own demise if I continue. But I try to push myself out of my comfort zone whenever I can. And it's kind of like with YouTube. I can sit here and talk for 15 minutes. You know what I've been telling myself for the last year? If I just took that 15 minutes every time and put it into one project, right? And then slowly edited and put together a video that really had some, deep meaning, uh, that would be new to me, something I should work towards. But then there's part of me that just is spontaneous and just wants to talk about what's on my mind. So just kind of little of both, I guess. Anyway, talk to y'all later. Have a wonderful day, and peace out.